Hi, I'm Madeline James, and I'm new here to AuthorTube, and I thought what better way to introduce myself than to answer the AuthorTube Newbie Tag 2.0 questions. But before we get started with that, I just wanted to talk a little bit about why I'm trying to join AuthorTube. I really enjoyed the writing community on Instagram and Twitter, but it's not quite the right fit for me, I think. I enjoy doing it, and I think that they're really good for their specific purposes, but when it comes to consuming content and learning myself and trying to interact, I feel like YouTube will be a much better fit for me. It's where I go when I want to learn something. It's where I go when I want to feel like, someone's writing with me. I just really like watching things in YouTube videos, and I learn well that way, and they're larger formats so that you can go over a lot more stuff at one time, and having those larger chunks of information I think it'll work better with how my brain works than little tiny snippets on Instagram or just tiny little thoughts being flung out everywhere like on Twitter, but we'll see how it goes. I'm excited to get to meet other AuthorTubers, other writers, a bunch of people in general. So let's go to the questions. So the AuthorTube Newbie Tag 2.0 and the original 1.0, I guess, version were created by Jenna Streety. I'll link her YouTube video below with the questions. I definitely recommend checking them out. Question number 1. What is your book's pitch? And if you have multiple works, choose your favorite. I'm just going to go with my main book right now. So I have a sentence pitch blurb, I guess, that I've worked on it's very abstract because my book it's kind of hard to summarize in one snippet. It's a 4 POV kind of epic fantasy story, so you have a lot going on, and it isn't until the end of the book that you kind of see all those different threads come together. So I haven't quite figured out the best way to summarize all of those in one sentence, but I'll give you the blurb I do have. Change is on the wind from the vast Mearston Empire to the migratory tribes of the grasslands, as whispers of discontent, desperation, and strife grow to a deafening roar. So that's what I have right now. I'm sure it'll change 50 bajillion million times, and that's just my version. 2. If you were a book, how would you pitch yourself? I did not prepare this one. I only prepared answers for the easy questions. So, a 26-year-old writer with 2 kids, a full-time job, and dreams to be a novelist. Alright, what do you usually write? Adult fantasy. Sometimes some of my ideas kind of lean towards NA a little bit, new adult, but I don't think I'll ever write YA, and I don't think I'll ever write anything other than fantasy. I love world building. Maybe a little sci-fi, I could see that one day, but adult fantasy. What's something you'll never write? Horror or comedy. Those are very much not my cups of tea. I've read a couple horrors. I'm a huge scaredy cat, so I can't do it. And then I appreciate comedy as a consumer, I guess. Viewer, reader, watcher, whatever. But I can't write it. I had to write a comedy flash fiction for I don't know, I'll write what the name of the competition is, but for my challenge 2, I had to write a comedy, and it was like pulling teeth. Never again. 5, what's your goal for starting an AuthorTube channel? My biggest goals are to be a bigger part of the AuthorTube community here on YouTube and to kind of record my journey as I go. I think that's a really valuable thing about YouTube is that you can kind of go back and see how you've grown and see where you came from. And the writing community here has also been a really big factor on motivating me to kind of finish my book. I had written, 10,000 words and planned my world and stuff over the course of 5 years, and it wasn't until the beginning of 2021 when I really was like, I need to set myself a goal of being published, and I started researching things and really coming up with plans and where I wanted to go and timelines and all that stuff. And YouTube has been one of my biggest sources of information and thus one of my biggest sources of motivation. And I finished my book in July, and I mostly thank the writing community here on YouTube for that. So I just think it would be a really valuable thing for me to do, just for myself as a writer and my own, like, accomplishing my own goals and stuff like that. And, you know, if I create some stuff that's useful for other people too, that's great. 6, what made you want to start writing? So, de facto cliche answer here. I've been writing forever. I don't remember not writing. I mean, I have notebooks and journals from when I was in elementary school writing little, like, fantasy short stories that were horrible. And I was reading, like, what is it? The Magic Treehouse series, I think is what it's called. All sorts of those little, like, fantasy chapter book adventure stories. Like, I loved that. I loved escaping to all these fantasy worlds. I don't know. I've always been a big reader, and I don't know. I've always written, too, so I don't know. 7, what is your publishing path? So my goal right now is to traditionally publish. I'm not against the idea of ever self-publishing. I've done a lot of research on that, and I think there are a lot of really cool positives to doing it that way, and a lot of things about that I would really enjoy. But right now, for where I am, kind of how I would like to see my career progress and my goals, I'm going to aim for traditional publishing. 8, what content do you bring to the AuthorTube table? Well, so far, this video. But in the future, I'm hoping to do videos on world building. I actually have a blog where I do a lot of world building adventures, I call them, and I have a world building guide that I'm putting together. So it'd be really cool to do videos about that, show like some of my drawings, my map making, my process for that, because it is 10 times past extra and over the top, but I love doing it. And then some of my writing process and planning. And sharing my writing journey and vlogs as I go. So 9, what's your biggest writing struggle? So I think my biggest issue is just doing it, staying motivated, not getting overwhelmed. I mentioned that the book that I'm about to start revising, that I just finished the rough draft of in July, I've been working on that for 5 years, and there were definitely years in there where I did not touch it at all. Like, I would just, like, I'd be thinking about it in my head, but did not touch it at all. And it's not that I had less time than I do now, because I have 2 kids, and one of them is 6 months old, and I've written more in the, first 7 months of this year when I had a newborn baby than I have ever before in my life. So for me, it's not about having time. It's just finding a way to make myself do it, which I can, at some point I might talk about how I did that and how that worked for me, to see if that helps other people, because I know a lot of people are in that same struggle. Question 10, what is your best writing skill? Well, it is definitely not dialogue, and it is definitely not grammar, but I would say probably world building. I really, really like world building. That's one of my favorite parts. I love all the maps and figuring out all these different people and this complex web of how all their lives interconnect, and how the things in the world and the history kind of combine to create this culture and this unique social identity. I just find that fascinating. I love learning about it. I love manufacturing it. So that would probably be my best writing skill, and just, I don't know. I mean, it's possible I suck at it, but we're going with it. 12. If you're new to AuthorTube, sorry, I skipped 11 because it's for people that have been here for a while. So if you've been on AuthorTube for a while, and you haven't done this tag, these questions are still relevant from you. But yes, back to 12. If you're new to AuthorTube, what is your biggest AuthorTube question? So I think these are questions for other AuthorTubers, and I think my biggest question is just how to balance making this something that is beneficial for you with something that could be beneficial for other people and connecting with other AuthorTubers. I know it's a pretty niche little section of YouTube, so it's not like you're on here to get millions of subscribers and have this become your day job or anything like that, but I guess how to balance what's possible here with what you really want to get out of it and what will benefit you as a writer in your own writing journey. So then 13. Are you looking for any new channels to follow, betas, critique partners, or any other types of writer buddies? If so, tell us what you're looking for and connect with them in the comments. So I'd love some other newer YouTubers to connect with and kind of share this like early figuring things out journey. Maybe do some cool like collaborations, like that would be really fun. I love the community aspect of it, and that's what I'm the most excited for, so definitely that. And then we'll go to 14. What are you most excited for during this new fresh start on YouTube? So I've sort of already mentioned this, but I've enjoyed the writing community on Twitter and Instagram, and I've enjoyed being a spectator here on the AuthorTube community on YouTube. And I think it'll be really valuable for me and really fun to kind of get to make videos and create content in this format. I really like learning new things. My husband always jokes that I only have one hobby, and that one hobby is collecting other hobbies. So I do a lot of random stuff. I do like woodworking and construction projects. I garden, I bake, I quilt, I cross stitch. Like I do all sorts of random stuff. And I've always really liked cinematography. So the idea of getting to learn about, videography and editing videos and doing all that stuff, like I'm really excited about that aspect of it. So hopefully I don't spend too much time doing this and I still get my reading and writing and revising and all that stuff done, but we'll see. Alright, so those are all my answers to the AuthorTube Newbie Tag 2.0 questions. If you're another AuthorTuber or if you're just a writer in general, I'd love for you to comment below and tell me about yourself and what you're doing so that we can check each other out. And yeah, I look forward to being here.